Radio 4.
All of this week, a series of special reports from BBC News has been highlighting the shocking effects of cutting down the rainforests in the Amazon.
Our science editor, David Shukman, has visited Brazil, where a surge in deforestation is endangering the global climate. Let's have a look at what he found.
The billions of trees store so much carbon, they help to slow down global warming. They're also home to an amazing tenth of all species in the natural world. But the sight of bare earth and dead trunks is becoming more common. This is happening all over the Amazon to create new farmland. And the result is that the great forest has never been under such pressure. It's hard to believe, but an area the size of a football pitch is being cleared every single minute. What that means is that forest that could cover more than 2,000 pitches is just vanishing every day. And all the signs are that this rate of devastation will accelerate.
So that's what lots of people have been seeing this week, and viewers have been getting in touch with their own questions on deforestation, which we have been putting to experts to get answers. So
let's take you through the question of one viewer asking, as a young adult who lives in the UK, what changes can I make to my everyday life to help conserve and protect the rainforest further? Here's Claire Shakir, who's from the International Institute for Environment and Development, to explain.
We all have power to take action in our everyday lives. First of all, as consumers, buying products, making sure that those products are coming from land where there is no forest destruction. Secondly, as political actors, to ask our MPs what they're doing to ensure that the UK puts pressure on Brazil.
Well, another viewer asked a question about the economy. Brazilians need an income and food. Can they still develop the land without damaging it to this extent? Well, so we got Tanya Steele from WWF to give her view.
This is about a cycle of agriculture that deforests and then abandons land and moves on. We can restore that land and use it for productive agriculture for the future without having to cut down a single more tree.
One more question for you as well. Should the rainforest become independent of Brazil and belong to the planet, as it's literally of global importance, producing 20% of our oxygen? Here's a response from Professor Anthony Pereira, who's from King's College London.
I mean, I understand the concern behind the question, but Brazil has been sovereign over 2/3 of the Amazon rainforest for a long time, and it'll continue to claim sovereignty. So I think it's more practical for Europeans to work with Brazilians to try to put pressure on the government, to try to keep the rate of deforestation down.
Well, we are now going to be able to talk to Johan Oldekop, who is from the University of Manchester. Good to see you.
Morning.
Thank you for having me.
So, really interesting questions from lots of viewers. But you can explain kind of why we should care about deforestation, just the actual technical impact on the environment if this continues.
Sure. So the planet almost works like a single living organism, and what happens in one part of the world affects what happens in another part of the world. And forests help to regulate the world's climate and capture carbon dioxide, which is one of the key contributors to global climate change. And so when we deforest a part of the world in Latin America, for example, that has an effect on weather patterns and climate change in other parts of the world, including Europe and North America, where we're seeing big changes.
Have we seen that impact, and that can be directly attributed to the deforestation in the Amazon?
Well, yes and no. So essentially, deforestation is a large contributor to climate change, about 10% of CO2 emissions. And so it's a kind of combined effect of all of the causes, but deforestation is a big one.
Well, we talk about it a lot now, of course, and more evidence appearing all the time. When did we first know the link between cutting down trees and the ongoing consequences in a wider sense?
So we've known this for quite a while. It's just in the past decade or so that we can make these links between what's happening in one part of the world and another part.
Do you mean the theory was that it was having an impact, but the evidence wasn't there?
Exactly. Yeah.
And how do you see things progressing from now?
Well, I think forests have really taken center stage in kind of global talks about sustainability, and we see them in key international agreements like the Paris Agreement. So I think there's a real opportunity to really try and combat climate change by reducing deforestation and restoring areas that are degraded.
So instead of deforestation, reforestation is the answer.
That is one of the answers.
Okay. But how, I mean, what kind of time is of the essence, isn't it? That's something, you know, we hear all the time. Reforestation, how quickly can that help?
Well, so reforestation is part of the answer. Our key key thing that we need to do first is to reduce carbon emissions that we're currently producing, reduce the amount of deforestation that's already happening, and then restoring areas where forests used to be.
And with governments around the world, authorities around the world, how much more receptive do you think they are to fixing this?
I think they are becoming more receptive.
Just because we were talking a lot about, you know, economies. The reason we see so much deforestation is it's work. People using the land to produce.
That's right. So I think politicians and policymakers are becoming more aware of the issue, and we see that through international commitments. But I think our role as individuals is to make sure that we put pressure on policymakers to ensure that we do make these changes.
Johan, good to see you here this morning. Thank you very much.
Johan
Oldekop is Senior Lecturer at the University of Manchester, just reflecting on some of those images.